movie and music fan. I collect a lot of vinyl records. I collect physical media in all shapes and forms, books, DVDs now, because before that I grew up in the VHS era and I had a massive VHS collection. Wish I still had it. I was just like everybody else that saw the DVD discs coming out. I resisted for as long as I could, but when it obviously was going to take over and VHS was going to be no more, there's only one way to go. So I still enjoy physical media. I still buy the DVDs. Obviously, that's what it is now. But I'm like many that if you know, some people don't get it. They're just not physical media people. Movies changed my life. My entire passion and drive is within film, filmmaking, music. Music has evolved over my, when I was a teenager to now, even when I was in middle school. Music was I started to get. I remember it must have been probably the sixth or seventh grade or so, like that. Might have even been a little bit earlier, but there was that. I remember there was, the music was starting to come through, and I was starting to go, wow, what is that? That's really cool. Of course, back then, if you had a Walkman or something, you were just you were cool stuff. So then, obviously it was mostly the portable CD players was what we had, a lot of us, but that was the deal was, portable CD players, headphones, and batteries. Everybody was trying to get AA batteries, no matter what. You always had to have AA batteries. So, but the music and everything like that. But physical media has been a big one for me. And like many, it's really cool. Like I'm a big horror movie buff. And what I mean by mostly horror films is growing up with a lot of the old stuff, the 80s stuff, and even before. Really good stuff. I'm a big fan of Vincent Price. Love the Vincent Price movies. All that. Theater of Blood is almost like, it's just one of his best. But House of Wax, love House of Wax, love his earlier ones. A Comedy of Terror, that's a great one with Peter Lorre. That is such a funny, great movie. Just stuff like that, again, to quote, never could be made again. Never have. Will be able to have any kind of caliber of these type of films out there. House on a Haunted Hill is just phenomenal. So, with me growing up in VHS era, it's really awesome to see a company like this, Scream Factory, releasing to do things like this. This is another gem of a movie that I think is still, some of these still fly under the radar, I believe, for me. Wes Craven directed it. This one's called The People Under the Stairs. It's got Everett McGill, since we were talking about The Under Siege 2. Everett McGill and Wendy Roby play the villains in this. They're also from Twin Peaks. But this is a great whack job of a movie. Originally saw that on Joe Bob Briggs' Monster Vision on TNT back when, and we'd shove the blank tape in the VCR and tape it off the show and then run and pause it and pick it back up when all the commercials hit. Best times ever, still the best times. But it's really cool because they went through, and as later on when I owned the actual VHS tape and realized how much the TV cut out of a lot of these films, it's cool. They actually went back and they got the original cover here. That's really cool. They went back and put the original VHS slipcover deal in there where you can reverse it. Speaking of that, here's one, The Mechanic, with Charles Bronson. I'm a big Bronson fan. I love all of his films that he was doing. Some people call them his cheesy Cannon films, but Cannon made the best films. Man, they put the action in action and the blow them up, shoot them up, and the shoot them ups. Cannon films are amazing. This was one directed by Michael Winner. This is awesome because it included the slipcover reversible image of the VHS cover. When I heard this was being re-released on Blu-ray, because I missed the very first releasing, which was a Twilight Times releasing, and it was like $100 during when I was looking at it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't spend the money. But when Scorpion Releasings did this one, I absolutely jumped on it, pre-ordered mine, and one of my definite favorite Bronson films is The Mechanic. The other one would have to be Murphy's Law. All right, another one that's kind of a hidden gem too, is really difficult to get, as they, I think, re-released it now. Who'll Stop the Rain? This was a difficult movie for me to get, paid a premium for this one. This one actually is a Twilight Time releasing. Nick Nolte and Michael Moriarty, I always pronounce his name wrong, and Tuesday Weld is in this one. Very, very cool Vietnam movie. Very gritty, very just surreal movie. What an awesome film this is. Very, very crazy film. Another one that comes to mind when I think of this one is the other one called Southern Comfort. All right, moving on to the kind of a cult film, The Exterminator, with Robert Ginty, the Exterminator movie. This is very, you could almost say this is controversial for his time. Of course, he's got his 44 Magnum. There's an amazing scene where he starts putting mercury in his 44 Magnum rounds, which led to a sequel, Exterminator 2, where they actually get a dump truck and fortify it and go rummaging through all of the bad people and everything. Has a lot of, what also has this vibe too is Death Wish 3. If you're familiar with the Death Wish films, Death Wish 3 was the more comedy one. That was a straight up it's just totally Friday night, big bowl of popcorn. I mean, come on. You can't, that's the best one, in the series. The first two are really, really dark, but the third one really had fun with everything. The other one here on my list is Pieces. I recently bought this a couple of years ago. This is a Grindhouse releasing. Really cool because it's got a bunch of extra stuff in there and everything. It's a foreign film, I believe. It's a Spanish film, I think, originally. This is uncut. The gore is over the top. It's pretty much exactly, you look at the cover, and it even says, it's exactly what you think it is. It's a madman running around with a chainsaw cutting people up. It's got some pretty good scenes. I love the practical effects. Love it. A lot of the practical effects. Tom Savini really got me into makeup effects and everything. Tom Savini did a lot of his stuff got his name out there. Definitely hit it big with Dawn of the Dead, but then all through the 80s slasher films, he was the man. He was the person that created Jason and all that kind of stuff. Tom Savini is the man when it comes to a lot of that stuff. All right. Here's one that I think is one that definitely flies under the radar, and it's the old original from the 70s, Tales from the Crypt and Vault of Horror. This is cool because Scream Factory released this as a double disc set, or double movie set kind of deal. It's got both of them on there. They got some episodes, some of the little skits or whatever they were doing, the anthology. It's got some that are on there that are absolutely just classic. My favorite of them all is the School of the Blind, where the director goes there, starts changing things up, pushes them around, they don't like it, and then they fire back at them and they say, okay, we've had enough, we're not going to take this anymore. So, all right. The other one here on the list is Poultrygeist. This one here is directed by Lloyd Kaufman. This is part of the Trauma series. This is a screwball movie. It's kind of it's a total splatter comedy, musical horror. The musical aspect of it I could have lived without, but it really is. I've had this for a long time. I remember seeing this when it first came out. I hope my copy is actually still in decent shape, because unfortunately this is back when I actually had my movies next to a window. Keep in mind, word of the wise, not from the wise, because I'm certainly not. Do not store your movies near sunlight. It will crispy them up and they will not play anymore. This one's no exception. This box is crispy. I hope this copy still works. I might have to get another one. Poultrygeist is a complete screwball of a movie. One of the coolest box sets out there is the Phantasm box set. This is when this got released on Blu-ray, I jumped on it to get it. I bought mine at Best Buy when it first came out. This sucker went out of print overnight. I'm not kidding. Most of the Phantasm stuff, now it's a little easier to find. You can actually go out there and get them and find them. But the Phantasm box sets have gone out of print faster than they were in print. This is cool because they had gone through and put the old original slipcovers on there for all of them. The ones I grew up with, first three. I remember renting the first ones from a grocery store on VHS. They recently, or within the last few handful of years, 4 or 5 years, I guess, I don't know, it all seems recent to me. Phantasm 5. Wasn't a fan of it. I felt like it was forced. Wish they had more of a money and budget to do it. I think it could have been better than what it is. But in a way, it's kind of a sad one. Sad closure to the film series, obviously. But Angus Scrimm had passed away, unfortunately, right after it, which he's the tall man. He's the infamous villain. But the first three always will stand out as my favorite. I had actually, funny story with this, I still kept the ticket. My friend, one of my best friends out here, we went to this theater called The Loft to go see this. They were playing the original on the theater, back on the big screen. And there's my ticket. I kept it because this was, when we got there, we went to go do it. It was part of a two film thing. They were playing this and Point Blank. Point Blank was another night. We went to go see this on a different night. So I said, oh, we got to go see Phantasm on the big screen. I mean, I can't not do it. So we went. He took me, which is awesome. I mean, I'll never forget this. So I'm standing there. I said, hey, how about I'll get us some ice cream, hot summer. So he said, yeah, sure. I'll go stand in line or something like that, and I'll go get us some ice cream. So as I'm standing there in line of ice cream, I see the marquee up there. You know, it says Phantasm, you know, special premiere thing, one night only, that whole bit. And it says, with Don Coscarelli. And I said, well, of course it's Don Coscarelli. He's the director. You know, everybody knows that. Everybody that's a fan of the film series. And I'm looking at it. It says, with Don Coscarelli. What does that mean? You know, so I get the ice cream. I go back and I'm telling him. I say, you know that? And he goes, that is interesting. And then I notice by the front area, they got this table set up like this. They're setting it up and they're setting up stuff and lighting and all that. So I go up to the guy and I said, hey, what's that mean with Don Coscarelli? And he says, because he's going to be here. In fact, there he is right there. And I kid you not, here comes Don Coscarelli walking right up the path. Me, being a huge horror fan and all that and growing up with this, I just got starstruck. That was the first time I was absolutely starstruck. It was like, pinch me, is this really happening? And I do spend a lot of money and time and effort into collecting a lot of memorabilia and horror stuff. And Don Coscarelli, was meeting him and everything was just phenomenal. I actually got to also meet Bruce Campbell before that and got to get a signature with Bruce Campbell and everything. But I got my Don Coscarelli book that he wrote and signed and actually addressed to me. So that's really cool. But this is the kind of stuff that I absolutely have a really big interest in, a huge interest, far more than anything else. A lot of horror memorabilia and stuff like this, and getting to meet what I look at as my heroes, people I look up to, that are still around, like Don Coscarelli. And I will say this about meeting Mr. Coscarelli was like, he was so cool, so down to earth. He wanted to take pictures with you. He wanted to sign your stuff. Signed the first one for absolutely free. If you wanted a second thing signed, I believe he charged you like $20, $10, something like that. I got my poster signed by him. So I got the book and the poster. Of course, I had to do it. I had to buy the book and I had to buy the poster and had him sign it. He signed one for free, charges for the next. Totally cool. Got to remember also why these guys charges signed at. I'll tell you why. Because couple of reasons actually. They got to make a living too. Sometimes, they got to do something. All right. The other part of it is the sad part. There's a lot of people that aren't fans or they don't care and they want to go up to these guys and get them to sign a stack of stuff so they can go on eBay and sell it. They don't even care about what they're doing. They just care about the money part of it, which is sad, which causes them to have to start charging for this stuff. So, but still cool. Got to meet him. Like I said, I also got to meet Bruce Campbell. Bruce Campbell signed my stuff for free. But Bruce Campbell didn't have enough time to be more personal with people. Don Coscarelli did, and it was really cool to go out there. I got to tell him about a really cool story about me growing up and renting his tape from the grocery store, and then building a fake 4-barreled shotgun to run around the house and terrorize my grandparents with. But that's really cool. Before we wrap things up here, another thing about that I guess I haven't really shared with you guys is I play music, and music has been a number one passion for me. I obviously play the drums. I have been playing drums since high school. Always enjoyed it. It was always a way for me to meditate and escape. Of course, at the time, what got me into wanting to play it was Lars Ulrich from Metallica. Been a big Metallica fan for forever. Metallica is really what started getting me into rock music. As over the years, I kind of, mellowed out, I guess, and got into more like classic rock and stuff like that. The Greg Kihn, song, the breakup song and things like that, playing things along those things. Love Black Sabbath because of the rhythm. Really, one of my favorite songs by Sabbath to play along to would be Paranoid. Oh, the sirens are going already. But yeah, since to mention a big music fan and everything like that, somebody that was very instrumental for me in life, that I've read all of it, most of all of his books, collected a lot of his content, and was following his spoken word stuff for a very long time, would be the man, Henry Rollins. Henry Rollins for me is like an icon. He means so much to me. I actually tattooed the album, one of the CD covers on me, and I actually so in town here, he was at the Rialto Theater, and I actually got to go down there and see it and to go experience the spoken word performance. While I was there, we bought the tickets online, and we got pretty close up to the stage. This was the other time where I could not believe I actually was there gonna go see him, because of everything he just all of his writings and how much I followed him and still follow him. And then I noticed that you could purchase this awesome little lanyard, and it was a VIP pass, and you could purchase it. I believe it was like $100 something, and I did him and hawed at first. When I thought, I said, I don't know, but you know what? This is a once in a lifetime thing, I felt. And this was something that it was a bucket list item, was to get to go see his show. Paid it, got to go see it, and actually got to hang out with him after the show, which is super cool. Of course, it's signed by him. I got to just kind of sit there while he close up, and you almost basically what we got was there was everybody that bought one of these, which was not very many people, but we got our own personal like little get together with him while he talked about things that we had asked him earlier on a piece of paper, and he got to actually answer it. Super cool. Got to take a photo with him. There's me meeting him, completely starstruck. And here he is, as he says, taking the worst photos because he's bad at it, because he's just kind of like, and there we are, ecstatic. And, so anyway, it was super cool. But that's the other side of the things that I do. This is physical media, movies, and that kind of stuff is really what I'm like. I'm falling in love with it. Always have been, and it's a real true passion for me. And that's kind of the other side of the coin for me, and what the other side that I haven't really not too much shared on too much. But as you can see, this is all of these are all horror flicks, from black and white days to the 80s to the 90s, some of the 2000s, but not a whole lot. Most of everything on here is from the years past, not just one or two I own multiple copies of things just because. Like one of the things that I really can't believe I actually own is I own the rare producer's cut of Halloween 6. I've got different releasings of The Exorcist because it's one of my favorites. Of course, the Stooges. Gotta love the Stooges. I got a lot of Bogart films. This is a really cool one. A special edition of Death Wish 2, which I did not know they actually had an unrated version of that, which is crazy. Look, The Incredible Melting Man. Of course, the Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, the original 1978 Dawn of the Dead. Even got the Ultimate Edition of Dawn of the Dead, which has, I think, 3 versions of the film in it. Big box set. That's out of print. Can't get that. I got the Omen box set, the Vincent Price box set. Look, the Towering Inferno. So not everything is horror there. The original Herschel Gordon Lewis 60s shock films right here. You've got The Gruesome Twosome, Gore Girls, Wizard of Gore, just wild and cheesy stuff. Slumber Party Massacre. Look, here's one of the great titles, The Boogans. So, Castle Freak, Don't Go in the Woods Alone, Night of Lepus, basically Attack of the Bunny Rabbits, if you can believe that. Intruder, murder, killer grocery store movie. Rabbit Grannies, which is completely a nut job of a movie. Night of the Living Dead, the remake, 1990s. That's a great remake, directed by Tom Savini himself. If there was ever a remake that's just completely phenomenal, that would be one of them. Of course, The Evil Dead. Up here, you can't see it, but I have the original copies on VHS of Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Evil Dead, a horror movie that nobody knows about with Burt Reynolds. Yes, Burt Reynolds did a horror movie called The Maddening. Original copies on VHS of Faces of Death, the old shockumentary, which ended up being false anyway, but kind of cool because that's from back in the day, banned in 46 countries and all that kind of stuff. I got the Dirty Harry films, original VHS copies and stuff like that of those. The Burning, great campy splatter film. The Lucio Fulci zombie Italian gore films that were coming out that were at one time almost impossible to find. The 4K releasing of Motel Hell, which is a phenomenal releasing. I love that. That's a great 1980s just cheese campy, great movie. Mortuary, Mausoleum, these two got re-released. It was awesome to see those. Street Trash is one of those really wacky kind of gore, heavily special effects movie. Of course, my favorite, you got the Silent Night, Deadly Night films. Nightmare City, which is an Italian zombie film. Completely, craziness. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, which I think is a really neat and different take on the whole series. And then part 3. I have the first 3. After that, I really didn't. I thought the thing lost its polish. I think it just got kind of weird. Of course, we talked about Mandy. Got some really, really weird and disturbing films. We, can't even show you the cover of that. But anyway, just to kind of name the few that's behind me, and of course, this thing is 6 feet tall and 3 or 4 feet wide. So, but anyway, I figured that'd be an interesting and different show for you folks, and hopefully you enjoyed it. And if you're still here, we do appreciate it. And we'll see you next time.